Hello and welcome back. My name is Benjamin. Today we are going to edit the North America Nebula. This is 2 hours worth of data that I took last night in the clear. So the first thing we'll do is we'll do a stretch to see what we have. And that looks real nice. That's very green because of the extra green pixels in the camera. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to crop off the stacking artifacts from the dither. So dynamic crop and cut off those artifacts. Perfect. Now we're going to go script, image analysis, image solver. Now you might notice my pixel size is small for my camera. I always drizzle ×2 with my images because they are so undersampled with this. Well, because they're undersampled. I don't know about so undersampled, but they're undersampled with my setup, so the stars are very blocky. So it helps round things out, and it gives me twice the data to work with. So I like data. All right. Now we will go ahead and run the color calibration, I can never say it, spectrophotometric calibration with the background neutralization on. This was shot with an L-eXtreme filter, so let's use that in the drop-down box. And let's run this. Now, as I said, it's 2 hours worth of data. It's 16 450-second exposures, 40 darks, 25 flats, and 25 dark flats. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it because it's the North America Nebula. It should look like North America. So we're going to rotate it as such. So we're going to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. And there you have it. So next let's run BlurXterminator. This is the new BlurXterminator 2.00 AI version 4, just upgraded, just updated. Alright, now let's run the NoiseXterminator. Let's look at the noise. It's pretty clean data for only 2 hours. It's such a bright object, but it's very clean data. But we're going to run NoiseXterminator on it anyway. We're going to run it at about 75 instead of the default 90, which I think is the default. So let's run that. Alright. So let's begin stretching. I've been playing with the GHS, Generalized Hyperbolic Stretch, lately, so I'm starting to figure it out. So we zoom in on the graph, use the scroll bar until you find your data, make a symmetry point within the data, usually at the highest peak at first, send that symmetry point, send to SP. The first stretch is normally the local intensity of between like 10 and 11, I'm sorry, 10 and 12, so I want to put it at about 11. And then the stretch factor, turn on the real-time preview, turn off the automatic stretch. Stretch factor is going to be around 4. You don't want to go too crazy the first couple times. You just want to get it a good stretch so you can kind of see the data. So we'll apply that, reset the tool, zoom out. There's all of our data again. Then you start smoothing out lumps. Obviously, that's way too far. Okay, I'm going to protect our highlights so we don't blow out any highlights. Let's accept that. Let's try to smooth out that a little bit. Let's This is all by feel, so it takes a little bit of time to learn and get a feel for things. But it's worth it just to play with it because it really does create great results. This hump right here. Yeah, that looks real nice. Let's accept that. My background is pretty dark, so I don't want to darken that anymore. In fact, I probably should have protected shadows on my last. Let's go back one step and do it again and protect the shadows because the shadows are getting too dark. So we'll protect shadows and bring those shadows back up because they are just getting too crushed, and I don't want crushed blacks in my image. Let's apply that. So there's where we are with right now. And you can see when you mouse cursor over a dark area at the very bottom here, it gives a readout of the black colors. So red is at 0.1285, which is dark, and green is at 0.22, and blue is at 0.21, which is kind of bright. So it's got a red cast to it. So we're going to run a background neutralization, try to even that out a little bit. Let's try a default. And I brought the reds up to, 0.12, 13, 11. So it's better. We have a blue cast obviously now, or maybe it's more neutral and it looked red before and I think it's okay, but let's just roll with it for now. Next thing I want to do is I want to remove my stars. All processes, StarXterminator. Generate star image, unscreen stars, and let that run. Okay. Let's rename this stars. And we've got some color artifacts. I have noticed that with a lot of these really bright nebulae, you get some real color artifacts. So you've got this blue, green mass in here and here. So the first thing we're going to do is we don't want that. I don't know why it does that. I don't like it. So I get rid of it. So SCNR green. SCNR blue, SCNR green, SCNR blue, and SCNR blue. You can see that stain has gone away a lot. Let's run a green again. Good. The other thing I've got is I've got a lot of these magenta stars. I'm going to run the script, so I can hear. I'm going to run the script to reduce that. Script, utilities, correct magenta stars. That's an add-on. You can Google how to find it, or you can ask me and I'll find it for you in the comments. So let's just run that. Let's not run that. Let's execute that. Sorry. And you can see the difference it made. That star is no longer. Let's go back. And we went from there to there. It's a big difference. So let's zoom back out on our stars. What is that? It's a bright star. Let's leave that alone for the moment. Despite this artifact right here, we'll keep an eye on that. Alright, so now we've got our North America Nebula. Let's rename that Starless. First thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this offending blue. So SCNR. Click the color to remove, green, blue. Now it looks very green, so color to remove green. And that looks pretty neutral to me. Alright, let us go to process, all processes, local histogram transformation to pull out some more contrast. with the real-time preview, and this looks horrible in its default values. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to increase the contrast limit, increase the kernel radius by quite a lot, which smooths it out, reduce the amount. In this case, we're actually going to lower the contrast limit because these are real large scale. We don't want to go crazy and have it look all funky. Let's try 1 1/4. Let's lower the kernel radius. Up the amount. Oops, too much. Trying to be subtle here, but it's not giving me a lot of, not playing nice for me at the moment. That looks pretty good. There we go. Wondering why it wasn't changing. I didn't have the preview activated. So you can see the real-time preview, what it's doing. And I think I like that. So let's go ahead and apply that. This takes a minute to run. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to run narrowband normalization to pull out our colors from our L-eXtreme filter, the dual narrowband filter. Palette HOO, lightness H alpha, blend mode 1. Let's go ahead and move the blend mode down a little bit so we get a little bit of the separation in the colors. Boost the O3 a little bit, get some more of the blues. Highlight reduction. Let's reduce the highlights just a little bit because in here it's getting a little blown out. There's a little lack of detail, but we'll have a trick to fix that later. And we'll up the brightness a little bit. Right about there. So we're going to take our Bill Blanchard color masks. First thing we're going to do is click our blue mask and apply it. We're going to blur our blue mask once, twice, 3 times. Let's apply it to the image. Image is red. Let's highlight our image because that's what we're going to work with. Processes, all processes, curves, transformation, and pull up our window. So we're going to dial in the blue. Take some blues out of the darks. Add some blues into the lights. I'm going to turn on the greens to get a little bit more, or pull up the greens to get a little bit more of a nice blue color. Red, we're going to also increase a little bit because I don't like that real teal color. I want a nice kind of heather gray, green color. And the B component, bring that out a little bit more. leave the saturation alone for the moment. Saturation is fine. We'll do a global saturation later. We want to keep them kind of in the same. I don't want to increase them separately, or else they might get out of whack with each other between the yellows, reds, and the blues. So I'm going to leave the saturation alone on this individual channel. So let's remove the mask. Mask, remove mask. Let's make a yellow mask now. Let's blur our mask once, twice to apply our mask. Highlight our window so it's active. Go back to processes, all processes, curves transformation, reset the tool, pull up the preview. So this wants to be red, gold red. Greens can come down a touch. Blues are going to come down a touch, get that nice gold color going. Let's give it a little bit more red. Let's do the B component and play with it till it likes. This is the artistic part, so you just play with the factors and the colors until all the curves look like what you want them to look like. This is a free situation where you just make it look like what you want it to look like, with the different color gases being mapped differently. You can really dial in exactly what you want to with your artistic vision. So let's apply that. I am happy with it. Close that, remove the mask. In the mask menu, remove mask. Now I'm going to go back into curve transformation with no masks set up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the contrast. I'm going to pull down my blacks a little bit. I'm going to pull up my lights a little bit. Very little bit, because I'm starting to lose a little bit of detail down in here. Starting to get to the max I want it to be at. Go to the saturation and increase the saturation. I've got some nice blue color down here mixed in with the red and little wispy reds up here. It just looks real nice. This came out real well with the data. Close our masks. Now you can see in here it looks kind of flat. Like right here there's a lot of detail. In here it looks kind of flat. So let's try a cyan mask and see if we can't isolate this color a little bit. Let's try a cyan mask. And I'm going to go with no. That mask is completely black. I see nothing. Let's go to script, utilities, color mask underscore mod. And click on the color that we want to, and let us make a narrow hue range. And let us blur the mask 5 layers. So hopefully, in theory, we're going to select this color, but not this color, but it didn't turn out that way. But that's okay. We'll just give the other blue extra contrast as well. Let us attach, created a clone. Let us attach that mask. So I'll highlight the window. Let's go back into local histogram into equalization with this mask on. So now we should only be changing the contrast in the blue. And we can see we're adding more contrast into this blue here. Again, we want to be subtle, but we want to make a difference. I think that looks pretty good, actually. Let's go with that. This will take a second to run. All right. Close our real-time preview window. Remove the mask. Close the mask that we had made. Now let's go ahead and let's put our stars back in and see what we get. Process, all processes, pixel math. I'm going to use our standard formula, tilde, open parenthesis, tilde starless, a close parenthesis times open parenthesis, tilde stars, close parenthesis. And that is the formula recommended by StarXterminator. So let's go ahead and add those stars back in. They actually are a little bit light. I'm going to take those stars back out and stretch them a little bit more before we put them in. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and go to processes, all processes, histogram transformation, and stretch those stars a little bit more, give them a little bit more pop. Let's try that. Let's try our formula again. All right. See, it just looks really nice. I'm going to try to neutralize this background a little bit more. I'm going to go to all processes, background neutralization. I'm still not completely happy with it. I'm going to increase the lower limit to about 0.1 and give that a try. Nothing. Let's go back to the default settings and give that a try. Oh, there we go. That's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. All right. And there you have it, the North American Nebula. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Any questions or comments in the comment section. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you next time.